Buying a starter home in New York City typically means purchasing a smaller condo or co-op apartment with up to one bedroom. What is a starter apartment? A starter apartment is typically a studio, one-bedroom, or junior floor condo or co-op apartment in a multi-unit building in New York City. Due to high housing prices in the New York City real estate market, it's typically impossible for the average first-time homebuyer to be able to afford anything larger, like a 2- or 3-bedroom apartment. For those on a budget, buying a starter home typically involves purchasing a small studio in a co-op building in a cheap part of town. For example, many parts of the Upper East Side have co-op buildings full of cheap studio apartments that make for great starter apartments. What is the best type of starter home? The best starter home is one that's flexible and adaptable to your changing lifestyle needs. Ideally, it'll have enough room for a baby crib if you have an unplanned pregnancy. And if you have an unplanned infant, your apartment better have a washer and dryer installed. Just imagine having to haul dirty diapers to the laundromat down the street instead. If we had to choose, the perfect starter home would be a junior floor apartment with a usable second bedroom, even though it won't be big enough to be considered a legal bedroom. Remember that junior floor apartments are by default cheaper than true 2-bedroom apartments because the second bedroom doesn't meet the requirements for being a legal bedroom in New York City. Should I buy a starter home versus renting? Generally speaking, yes. However, you should do a careful analysis of how long you plan on staying in the city and when you'll need more space because of life changes. Furthermore, your analysis should consider your future earnings potential and whether you'll need to sell your apartment in order to buy a new, larger one. The primary concern in all of this are closing costs in New York City, which can eat up substantial amounts of your home equity. Common starter home buying mistakes. Not having representation. Having a buyer's agent is free, and there's never any sort of exclusivity. Sellers typically pay a fixed commission regardless of whether it's split between a buyer's agent and the seller's agent. Not getting a buyer closing credit. Not only are the services of a buyer's agent free, but you can also get part of the buyer's agent commission for yourself through a completely legal and tax-free buyer closing credit. Not verifying the square footage. Square footages are often inflated by listing agents, sometimes by 20% or more, and especially for co-op apartments where square footages are often just estimates. Not participating in due diligence. Since you will ultimately be writing the check, you should personally also review the building's documents. Not negotiating closing costs. In new development purchases, sponsors typically expect you to pay their New York City and New York State transfer taxes and attorney's fees. However, just know that this and much more is negotiable. Believing accepted offers are final. In New York, accepted offers are rather meaningless, and neither party is bound until a purchase contract is fully executed. Not submitting multiple offers. It's important to have option value and not get your heart set on any single property. Submit multiple offers and even negotiate contracts on multiple accepted offers. Not doing a home inspection. A home inspection could make sense for special situations, such as condominium conversions, small self-managed buildings, and top or ground floor apartments.